Was banging, boy. Brother Bridge here, above the sun moon. I'm saying, I want to start off. I want to tell I just want to say send a thank you to those of you who checked up on me. I'm saying, ain't heard from me in a while. I was wondering where the videos is at. I'm saying, appreciate the love. Real people do real things. I'm saying, appreciate that. I'm saying, today we're gonna talk about Atlantis and Lemuria. I'm saying we're going to demystify the concepts of Atlantis and Lemuria. I'm saying, and look into the illusion of good and evil. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this. Let me share my screen. All right. Here we go. Okay. So Atlantis and Lemuria demystified, exploring the illusion of good and evil. Let's go. So I'm saying we're gonna start off with we're gonna look into Atlantis and Lemuria, right? Anything that you look at, it should sync up. It should make sense spiritually, metaphysically, and physically. You know what I'm saying? So when we speaking about Atlantis, you know what I'm saying, a lot of people, some people would say, oh, it never existed physically or there's a lot of different beliefs. But no matter which way you look at something, you know what I'm saying, if it holds true in the spiritual plane, mental plane, and physical plane, then you can, you know what I'm saying, apply it universally. And that makes it true. Simply just somebody believing it makes it true. But you know what I'm saying, if you could prove it on all three planes, should be solid gold. So spiritually, Atlanteans, you know what I'm saying, would be archons, light beings, a race of beings from another dimension, principal energies, things of that nature. Metaphysically, a star system, left and right brain, or a school of thought. Physically, Atlantis would be the royal bloodlines. Okay, so that's just some of the ways you can look at that. Now, if you look on the screen right here, you see that this is the tarot. Okay, now when you're dealing with the tarot cards are made up of, they display principal energies, universal energies that make up this universe. You know what I'm saying? All the different energies at play that comprise this universe. All these different energies that make up the universe also are the different energies that make up you. All right, so this is what is called the major arcana, the major secret, or the big secret, which is symbolic of the cosmos. Okay, now the minor arcana is man and woman, because as above, so below. Okay, another thing to look at is the fact that we focus on 12 constellations, the 12 zodiacs, when science recognizes 88 constellations. The reason why I'm talking about the constellations and the major and minor arcanas is because what's in the heavens all make up an aspect of ourselves. See, these energies, they make up the universe, they make up our being. However, in some of us, I might have a certain energy pulling on me, which gives me this personality more than this person over here. I might have a fiery personality more so than the next person who has a cool and watery personality. But yet we're all comprised of the same aspects. Okay, so that's what these cards and that's what these constellations represents. The star systems and constellations represent different aspects of ourselves. All right. For example, they say that okay, so the different star systems, you know, they're warring, or they don't get along because some are fire gods and other are water gods. You know what I'm saying? Like we'll be looking at the Draconis, Alpha Draconis star system. You know what I'm saying? Be looking at the Sirius star system, you know. And when you look at the mythologies of these different cultures, you see that some of them refer to fish gods, or yes, fish gods, water gods. Others refer to fire gods or dragons, fire-breathing dragons and winged serpents, thing of that nature. Okay, so first off, we're going to look at the many different ways that the story of Atlantis has been told. So the first one I'm gonna say, this book Ramtha here, a lot of people really don't agree with this guy, with the author. They have a lot of things to say, but on my journey, it was one of the first books that I read, and it keeps things really plain and technical. Like, it doesn't really get too far off course with like philosophy or like really pushing an agenda. Well, not in my book anyway. I was able to pull out the good stuff. So when in Ramtha's version of Atlantis, Ramtha says that he was what would be classified as a Lemurian. He said that he comes from a Hindu type of, you know, Sanskrit race. Okay, and he says that his people were the Lemurians, and that the Atlanteans they enslaved his people. He said that his people were very spiritual and very one with nature. He said that the Atlanteans worshiped technology, and that the mastered the principles of light, and that was ultimately their demise. Okay. Ramtha also said that the red man today is suffering because the red man was the Atlantean that enslaved his people. Now, when you look at North American folklore, the red man is not the same red man that you see when you turn on the news that's getting all of this casino money. The red man was originally Queen Califia and numerous melanated, dark-skinned indigenous people. We aren't all from Africa. So Ramtha is letting it be known that, you know, the plight of to interpret it the way I see it, it's, you know, the plight of the black man in the West. The reason why he's suffering so much is because he was the ancient Atlantean that enslaved Ramtha's race. But we're not going to stick to, we're not going to stick to one paradigm. We're not going to stick to one story here. We're going to look at different stories now, and we're going to see the similarities within these stories. So Zecharia Sitchin, and I read like, shit, man, I think I didn't read like 2 of these books. It's about either like 11 or 13 of these books, man. I read like damn near all of them. And when I was reading them, they still left me with a lot of questions, like, and Zecharia Sitchin has been debunked as a disinformationist by different authors and different people. But I'm still gonna use his story that he told of the Anunnaki coming here. They came here to mine gold, and they made a slave race, genetic manipulation, this, the whole Atlantis story again. Yeah, what was really interesting was he talks about the 12th planet Nibiru. And I remember when I was locked up and I was watching CNN, and CNN put it on their news that there was another planet approaching our solar system, and they called it Planet X. And this was kind of like, on my road to my journey to the occult. So I was still kind of like really invested in the material world. And I thought it was so mind blowing that CNN would have that on their news station. I was like, fucked me up. But now, you know, looking back on it, I realize that everything is a damn that. Well, anything that you see on TV is a hoax. You know what I'm saying? It's put there for a reason. It's very controlled. It's very controlled. It's programming. Okay, so let's move on. I'm going to focus a lot on, okay, before we even go there. Now, when you talk about Atlantis, right, you're going to hear, you know, the Alpha Draconis system. Also, in today's world, you know what I'm saying, you've probably heard of certain laws being called draconian. So I went ahead and I pulled up the Wikipedia meaning of draconian, which is an adjective meaning severity that derives from Draco, an Athenian law scribe under whom small offenses had heavy punishments. Draconian laws. Okay, so we'll be talking about the Draco star system. All right. Now, draconian laws came from an Athenian law scribe. You know what I'm saying, that made really harsh laws. Some Roman dude that passed some real harsh crimes for very petty crimes. You would get really harsh sentences. And an example of the draconian law was the stop and frisk law that was in place in New York City not too long ago. So we'll be looking at Atlantis, alien visitation, and genetic manipulation by Michael Sarion. Pretty in-depth book. Recommended. So Atlantis, the Atlanteans, okay, in the story, in Michael Sarion's story, he states how the Atlanteans came to this dimension from another dimension or another star system, and because they were pursued here. They were pursued here by all the other intergalactic races, because they were looking for them. They were intergalactic criminals. They were chased here and ultimately to be destroyed. However, they tricked their pursuers into believing they placed a beacon on Tiamat, a planet named Tiamat, but they really hid here on Earth, and their pursuers blew up Tiamat, which became the asteroid belt. They came here, the Atlanteans came here, enslaved the population that they found here, genetically manipulated them with their reptilian like DNA. What else? Oh, okay. Now, after they created their first genetic manipulation being, their first set of people they created them with the same intellect as they had themselves. The Atlantean created this new creation with the same intellect that they themselves had. Now, this being now had the same intellect as the Atlanteans, as well as an emotional connection to this planet, because this being was originally here on this planet. It was created by components, you know, it's naturally connected to this planet. The Atlanteans are not. Okay, so that made one being connected to this universe, and at the same time with superior intellect, the same technology as the Atlanteans. So these sons of the Atlanteans, they decided that they wouldn't be slaves of the Atlanteans, and they left. Now the Atlanteans realized, it's like, okay, they're just as smart as us, so there's not much that we can do to them, because they can build the same weapons. They have the same means to, you know, combat us. All right, so they let them go. They created a second race. This second race, they made sure that they weren't as smart. the first group that was created, they are referred to as the sons of the serpent. Okay, so when the sons of the serpent caught wind that the Atlanteans created another group of slaves, they said, oh no, these are people, beings just like us, and they deserve a right to live. They deserve a right not to be slaves. So they went back and they spoke to the woman. The women, they spoke to the newly created race, but however, it was the woman that took heed and followed the sons of the serpent out of Atlantis. Now, when the Atlanteans got wind of this, they were very upset. But all they did, they created another race that was completely devoid of attachment, completely devoid of feeling and emotion, just like them, and also with not as much intellect as them. All right. So that's the pretty much the story that's being told in this book right here, Atlantis, Alien Visitation and Genetic Manipulation. Now, you see a lot of similarities between the various different myths of Atlantis and Lemuria. So that's what we focus on. We're going to focus on the similarities and the differences. Saying we're just going to take a holistic view of this thing. So, in the Bible, you've heard of the Elohim, the fallen lords, Lucifer. That would be the Atlanteans, the Nephilim. Okay. Okay. So the Atlanteans mastered the properties of light. Okay. So they mastered the properties of light. That's one of the numerous similarities that you see in all these different myths. Matter is light coagulated. Everything that we touch is light. It's just light in different density, different forms. We can see it, so it's light. Matter is light coagulated. All right. So Lemurians mastered the oneness with the nature, with the universe. Okay. So the Atlanteans mastered the properties of light. The Lemurians mastered the oneness with the universe, with nature. Atlantis would be vampire magic. I'm saying light being. I'm gonna get more in depth into that a little later. I don't want to jump the gun. But yes, the Atlanteans would be the originators of vampire magic. That's where we would get light beings that feed on negative emotions, archons. You know what I'm saying? Also, the Nagas. The Nagas are believed to be reptilian beings that feed on or create negative effects on those that transgress. You know what I'm saying? The Nagas, they're in the Far East, Cambodia, Thailand, you know, those type of areas where there's a lot of melanated people. And sometimes, you know, there's been cases where people go over there as tourists and they come down with like really bad skin rashes or bad accidents, or like, you know, just all types of messed up things happen to them. And you know, when they find out, it's like, oh, you went in that water over there, and in that water, there's a certain awareness that's in that water, and they tag that awareness. They might tag it a Naga spirit. I'm saying those of us that are aware know what the Nagas are. I'm saying they represent the serpentine energy. They represent the Kundalini. They represent the Kundalini people, the Naga serpents. Brother Panic in his book mentioned that the Nagas is the root word for the word nigger. The Nagas, which are worshipped all around the world, even in Ethiopia, Negus is the word king. We'll get into Ethiopia and vampire magic in a little minute. It's coming up. All right, so Atlantis, vampire magic, that's where we get light beings that feed on negative emotions. All right. Fire god, we see the phoenix here, another example of the fire god right there. Okay, so this would be Lemurian. The Lemurians would be the Gnostics, the Wiccans, the pagans, you know what I'm saying, into nature and spirituality. You know what I'm saying? Atlanteans, you know, they say that they are principal energies that reside in the dark part of your awareness. That's where the notion of archons come from. Okay, so see here. Lemurians are right brain thinkers, nurturing the feminine principle. Okay. Atlanteans are left brain thinkers, cold, indifferent, strict, rigid. In Muwada Ashby's book, Egyptian Yoga, he mentions how godhood is attaining a detached, dispassionate, being detached and dispassionate. Okay, so that's actually what you're trying to attain by doing yoga. A detachment and a dispassion. Okay, because to walk the middle path, to attain godhood, you can't really be too swayed by one side or the other. You know what I'm saying? That's what this that's what we're getting to the nitty-gritty of right here when we're talking about Atlantis. You know what I'm saying? When we're talking about Atlantis and Lemuria, we're talking about right brain and left brain. One can't exist without the other. I mean, that's all this mythology is saying here. So as we see here, this Wiccan sculpture right here, matrilineal. Atlantis would be patrilineal. Left brain, right brain. Now on Voltron, on Netflix, episode 3, episode 7, season 3, my bad. That's a good episode that displays this notion. It illustrates Atlantis and Lemuria. I'm saying, so right here we're seeing differences in different cultures, and you can see this would be Lemurian cultures, like the tribal magic, shamanistic magic, that sort of thing. The Atlantean magic would be, you know, the royal bloodlines, the Catholics, vampire magic, that sort of thing. I'm saying? So the Lemurians would be the shamans and the pagans, the Wiccans, illustrated, by these individuals right here on the screen. I'm saying? All around the world, the different, different complexions of melanated beings. So they would represent the Lemurians, as I said, left brain, right brain thinking. Okay. One side more spiritual, one side more analytical, one side intellect, one side intuition. All right. Here we go. Atlantis and Lemuria. As I was saying in Egyptian yoga, Dr. Muada Ashby let you know that godhood is attaining okay, here we go. Here we go. Oh yeah, Muada Ashby's book, he let you know that godhood is attaining a detached dispassion. Detached dispassion. Yeah. All right. So now in Voltron, season 3, episode 7, Zarkon right here, you could see the guy laying right here. He looks more reptilian. That's his wife. She used to be an Altean. All right. So this is Zarkon, very similar to Archon. I guess he they're ancient. You know what I'm saying? So he's getting repowered by his wife. Let's go ahead and move on. Looks very reptilian. Now, before they were at war, Zarkon and the Alteans, they all were together. They all were one, fighting for the same side. Now, as you can see here, as I showed earlier, Zarkon, this is a young Zarkon. He looks reptilian. Now, also another theme that kept coming up when I in this research, you would notice they mentioned the 3-horned god of Draco. Okay, and that's left brain, right brain, and your pineal gland. Now, as you can see here, another 3 horns. All right, this one pointing down, this one pointing up. As well as you can see, this makes 6 points. The Star of David, made the most commonly worn by Haile Selassie and the tribe of Judah. But we'll get into that. We'll get into that in a little while. Okay, so Zarkon and his Altean buddy. So Zarkon, they would be Atlanteans, and these guys right here, they care so much about everybody and is emotionally connected to everybody. They would be the Lemurians. I'm saying all of these mythologies it's all about balance, man. Balance. I'm saying the fall of Atlantis, the fall of Lemuria, you know what I'm saying? Balance. You need balance. So this is where Zarkon finds his Altean wife. You know what I'm saying? He finds his Lemurian wife. Okay. As you can see, he's taken aback. Thinks she the hottest thing since sliced bread. All right. Let's move on. What that brings to mind is a passage out of the Bible where it says there were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the mighty men which were of old, men of renown. All right. Right. There you go. And it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all that they chose. Okay, so Zarkon took him a Altean wife, or in other words, in the Bible, it says that, you know, the gods, they saw that the daughters of men were fair and took one for a wife. So you see how all of these things, they're all intertwining. All of these stories, these mythologies, they all have one origin. Okay. This is the newly born princess, and this is Zarkon, and, you know, everybody's getting along, one big happy family, but things take a turn for the worse. Okay. A portal opened up. You know what I'm saying? Zarkon and his wife, they start dealing with that, they start dealing with a certain force coming out of this tear in a door, a gateway into another reality. Okay, so they're how do I put it? Okay, so they're highly invested in this substance that's coming out of this other reality. Okay, in other words, melanin. I'm saying they're exploring the darker side of their awareness. And I'm saying they're becoming aware of dark matter, dark energy in another uncreated plane where the dark energy resides. You know what I'm saying? They're aware of this now. They're dabbling in it. They're taking downloads of dark matter. You know what I'm saying? That dark mother energy. It's too much for their human. Well, he could take it. He can take it. Zarkon can take it because he's of reptilian, a different type of you know, genetic makeup. But his wife here can't take it. All right. She dies, or she's dying. He lies to his friends, convinces everybody to go into the other alternate reality so that they can get that substance. So that they could get that substance. What happens when him and his wife go over there? They die, or they cross the abyss. Okay, they die to themselves. All right, and now they're pure spirit. That's why their eyes are glowing now. You know, they're no longer. They've achieved godhood. However, in the cartoon, you know, they make them lean more towards hate than just taking the middle path. You know what I'm saying? But they've achieved an advanced way of thinking, which is marked by their eyes. Okay, so all right, and they're resurrected and they wage war on the Alteans, aka the Lemurians. And this is how the saga begins. Okay, everybody's looking, his old homies looking like, oh, you tripping. You tripping. You know what I'm saying? Because he's a formidable foe. So this is him now, and that's his wife. I mean, she's a witch. He's a, I mean, you know, yeah. Moving right along. But yeah, so that episode right there, to me, you know what I'm saying, it broke down and illustrated the whole mythology of Atlantis and Lemuria. So, oh yeah, y'all should check that out right there. Y'all should check that out. That Voltron, that's a real good series, man. Some real occult, some highly metaphysical concepts in that cartoon. All right, now we're gonna look at the Draco star system. When you look at the Draco star system, it's shaped like a dragon. I'm saying, and this is the head. The head of the Draco star system is called Rastaban. I'm saying, like Haile Selassie and them, the Rastas. I'm saying, is that a coincidence? I'm saying, is that a coincidence? We don't believe in coincidences. Okay, here we have it again. The Draco star system. Now, okay, so as we mentioned earlier, so the king's, where am I going with this? Pardon me. Now, Atlantis, we said Atlantis represents the left brain thinking, okay? The male aspect, intellect, okay? And we said that Lemuria represents the right brain thinking, the feminine principle, okay? Fire gods and water gods, we also referred them to. In the king's chamber, in the Great Pyramid, in the king's chamber of the Great Pyramid in Egypt, the king's chamber points to the Alpha Draconis or the Draco star system, the fire gods. And the queen's chamber points toward the Sirius star system, the water gods, such as Dagon and, you know, that whole mythology, where the Dogon tribe, they look to. Okay, it's just another aspect, because we said we're going to look at this in the spiritual realm, the mental realm, and the physical realm. Okay, so if the Lemurians were the pagans, the Wiccans, the shamans, the Atlanteans would be the geneticists. Okay, the geneticists. Now, Gnostics are pagans, pagan rituals. The Gnostics were pagan. So the Lemurians would be the Gnostics, and the Atlanteans would be the geneticists. You know what I'm saying? But they just represent how you would look at it from the left brain and how you would look at it from the right brain, whatever it is that you're observing. See, the middle, the pineal gland, is the silent observer. That's your soul. All right. Now, the Draconians, the Draco star system, as I said, these star systems, they make up certain aspects of your consciousness. They represent certain aspects of your consciousness in their configurations. The only reason that science has only been able to recognize 88 that they tell you about is because they're only able to understand 88 of those configurations, 88 of those shapes. But there is no limit. There is no limit to the aspects of your mind. So there's way more than 88 constellations. All right. So the Draco star system, let's say this represents the house of progress. In this constellation, you have the awareness of the issuing forth from the house of progress. Some souls issue forth from the house of progress. I read in one mythology. Other souls originate from the house of emotional understanding. You know what I'm saying? See, the Lemurians would have issued forth from the house of emotional understanding, or the Sirius star system, the watery star system. I'm saying the river Styx, the Milky Way. Dragons, bears, all kinds of shit in the sky. All right, so yeah, we looking at issues of, examples of genetic manipulation. You know what I'm saying, on the screen. We just check that out a little bit right there. Now, that brings something to mind with Dr. Phil Valentine. He said that the geneticists of today are the new Gnostics. You know what I'm saying? That makes sense as well. You know what I'm saying? Because when you really looking at Gnosticism, you know what I'm saying, when you apply it on the mental realm and on the physical realm, you could tie all of that into atoms and molecules. And man, that's a beautiful thing about understanding holistically, you know what I'm saying, where you are. All right, so right here we have the lightning flash of creation, the tree of life. So they say that the Atlanteans they mastered the properties of light. That's what they did. Okay, so that would be symbolic of this second Sephiroth here. Okay, because this is the unknown. This is the one. Up here is the unknown realm. There's the one. And I'm saying the source. Okay, this would be the male principle. Okay, that the light, they get the light first. The male principle mastered the principle of light. And I'm saying mastered it and understands that, okay, everything below here is made up of this light, but it comes to me first. You know what I'm saying? I send it to the feminine principle who gives birth. She holds it in her womb. You know what I'm saying? The feminine principle, understanding, nurturing, she's going to nurture this light. And this light is going to descend and descend and descend. So we're talking about the distillation process of awareness, distillation process of consciousness, the distillation process of man. We're talking about balance when we're talking about Atlantis and Lemuria. All right. Now, also, it says that the Atlanteans, which would be this Sephiroth right here, the Atlanteans created the sons of the serpent. They created the Lemurians because they gave them a being that was already here on this planet. They gave them their bloodline and their intellect. They created the sons of the serpent. Then they created another race, which the sons of the serpent came back and got. Now, also, when you hear this story, it comes to mind of what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad talked about with the wheel in the earth, a race of blacks that live inside the earth and they have superior technology. It comes to mind Zechariah Sitchin's book, War of the Gods, where there was a great war between the gods. We're going to get deeper into that a little bit later. But this Kabbalistic tree of life, it illustrates all of this. It illustrates this myth perfectly. Okay, so the Lemurians were created by the Atlanteans through genetic manipulation. Also, this illustrates how everything is comprised of light, which was mastered by the Atlanteans and the first sons of the serpent. Okay, let's move right on. All right, now, light, everything everything moves in waves. I want to do another presentation talking about light, but this light, everything moves in waves that you see. This flat line right here, this is kind of going off course, but this flat line right here is reality. No, not reality. Truth. This line right here is truth. This flat line, right? Reality would be this wave right here. Reality. Everything we see, what we do, what we are down here, this would be this wave, right? Now, this is a low frequency wave. All right? This is a high frequency wave. Now, as you see, the higher the frequency, the closer the wave is to the line. You see, when the frequency gets real high, those waves won't be so high up. They won't be this high up. They'll be right here. See, when you're on a high frequency, you actually become the truth. You know what I'm saying? You actually become the truth. That's when you become pure fire, uncreated. That's something else though. So here we have illustrating the distillation process. As we said, Atlantis and Lemuria illustrates the distillation process of man, the distillation process of consciousness in the Kabbalistic tree of life. All right. So now we have another example of who the Atlanteans would be. You know what I'm saying? These individuals here represent left brain thinking. All right. Shamans would represent right brain thinking. You know what I'm saying? All the indigenous people with their spirituality processes. Now, the three-horned god of the Atlanteans, shown in Angkor Wat, shown by Selassie, you know what I'm saying, shown by Queen Elizabeth, the Mercedes symbols, all these individuals, they all wear the same symbols on their clothes. Why? You know what I'm saying? We'll get to why in a little minute. So as I mentioned earlier, in that when I showed the cartoon, the three-horned god represents the left brain, the right brain, and the pineal. But even the left brain, right? You could even dissect that even further. All right, left brain thinkers. You know what I'm saying? Because you have a group of left brain thinkers. Okay, you have the Arab world, you have the Catholic world, you have the Rastas. These are all left-brained patrilineal societies, but look how dissected they are. So even though, okay, the three-horned god could represent right brain, left brain, and the middle path, it could still represent the further separation of the left brain or further separation of the right brain as well. Because even though you have these left brain societies, you know, you got Rastas over here. They are opposed to the English crown, but it's all the same brotherhood. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? This just shows it's just a dualistic appearance of all these differences in these royal houses. You know what I'm saying? You can see the similarities in their regalia, you know what I'm saying? Between the royal houses of Britain and the royal houses of Ethiopia, just for example. We could add other royal houses to this. Now, this concept of royal bloodline, a royal bloodline that makes these people better than you. Where did this come from? Who cooked this shit up? You see what I'm saying now? You see what we getting at with this shit? Atlantis and Lemuria. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yo, it's crazy. All right, so there we go. Now, as you just saw, as you just saw, Haile Selassie. All right, Haile Selassie, in a ceremonial garb. Now, when you fast forward, you see the god Marduk. You know what I'm saying? Similarities. These are all wheels. Wheels are like, these are all chakras. You have more than 7 chakras. These are all chakras. You know what I'm saying? Is it a coincidence? No. No, we don't believe in coincidence. You know what I'm saying? When you look closer, man, you see that, oh, it's a Turkish dude. Same getup. Same symbols. You know what I'm saying? Aleister Crowley. Same symbols. Oh, that was L. Ron Hubbard, by the way. You know what I'm saying? That was Aleister Crowley and L. Ron Hubbard, who Minister Farrakhan is telling his people to follow. You know what I'm saying? Because it's all the same brotherhood, man. All right. All of these brotherhoods, groups that are in power, they all originate, even those that aren't in power, even the poor righteous teachers. All of this has one origin. You know what I'm saying? It all comes forth from the same source, from one source. You know what I'm saying? Just like how you had the original serpents, you know what I'm saying, the Atlanteans, who came and they mastered light. So the light is the source. They mastered light. They created the sons of the serpent. Then they created another group, which the sons of the serpent rescued. So now you have 2 gods at the top, because in the Kabbalistic tree of life, you have 3 Sephiroths at the top. You have the source, you have the male principle, you know what I'm saying, the left brain, and you have the right brain. And then you have the source in the middle, bang. You know what I'm saying? The source. Whether you're Lemurian, whether you're Atlantean, you know what I'm saying, son of the serpent, brotherhood of the serpent, because when you get to looking at all these brotherhoods, man, all these different Masonic brotherhoods or whatever, it all goes back to the brotherhood of the serpent. You know what I'm saying? The serpent. I'm saying the one common denominator is the serpent, no matter where you are. You know what I'm saying? You always go, when you break it all the way down to when you peel the layers off of that onion and you get to the bottom, you're going to have it right there, man, the serpent. You know what I'm saying? Because when the serpent moves, it moves in a wave pattern. I heard Brother Panic say that the waters of noon are the waves, the light waves that make up matter. The frequencies that we could touch and feel. That's the waters of noon. The great mother, the great matter, dark matter. I remember a while ago, about a year ago, I said to somebody, I said, yo, you know the archons. I said, you know who the archons are black. So they were like, you know who the archons are? I said, yeah, man. The British Crown thinks that they're the archons. They call themselves the archons. The archons are supposed to be evil light beings that feed off of negative emotions. But I said they issued forth from the cosmos. You know what I'm saying? The cosmic mother, she's black. The blackness of space, man. The blackness of the cosmos. You know what I'm saying? Melanin, what holds the dark energy together. Everything is light. Light that is so bright and light that is so intense that you have to perceive it as black. You can't even understand it. All you just see is blackness. You know what I'm saying? That's dark energy. That's hellfire. That's antimatter. The dark mother comes, dark matter or melanin comes, and she holds that energy and she makes it bearable. She holds it together. She holds it together, and that's what we see as the blackness of the cosmos. We were born from that womb. So that makes us all connected to the cosmos because we all have that component that connects us. There are beings here that they either have they for you to be here, you must have this component melanin. But some people have it more than others because some are carbon based and some are silicon based. I'm saying some of us walking around here, not everybody is carbon based. They say that the Atlanteans are inorganic because they're not indigenous to this realm. They're not indigenous to this dimension. They say that they're inorganic. You know what I'm saying? Also, the very last race that they created is inorganic. Those are the silicone individuals that I mentioned. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you ask me, these silicone individuals would be the British, the British family, and these individuals. If you ask me, you know what I'm saying? The whole reason why they would have to be created, because we're going along with the myth here. It says that they created a last race that was devoid of attachment and also not as they didn't contain the same intellect as the original serpents. So those inorganic guys would be the British bloodline. I'm saying, who were put here. They had a job to do. It's like, all right, we down here. We already experienced everything we need to experience, but we didn't experience this. We got to experience. We've been up for millions, billions times multiplied by billions of years. You know what I'm saying? We ain't never been down. So we got to experience down so we can get the hell up out of here. You know what I'm saying? We got to know all that there is to know on this plane so that we can all leave. So these individuals that we see here are here to give us hell. You know what I'm saying? They're here to do their job. They were created by us. We're going to even get further. We're going to get further. We're going to prove that. We're going to see exactly why it is that I say that. You know what I'm saying? Hold on. Wait 1 minute. I'll be right back. Yeah. On deck like a boat ride. All right, where are we? Okay. Talking about the British Crown and the likes of them. You know what I'm saying? Carbon-based beings here to do a job. Now, you could trace the descendants of the Atlanteans, or who these bloodlines that claim to be the descendants of the Atlanteans. You could trace them, all right? You go back to the second deluge, the great flood, you know what I'm saying? Or the war of the gods that they say caused the pole shift, all right? But no matter what mythology you look at, you're going to see that it has this great flood. All you have to do is traced from the time of when people started, popping back up on the scene, such as history depicts. After this great flood, start looking at the families or the empires that rose up, you know what I'm saying, and started amassing wealth. That'll give you a good look into these individuals who claim to be the descendants of Atlantis, because after such a cataclysmic event, the only people that could even put together the type of, have the know-how to put together an empire, they have to have some sort of technology or some sort of know-how that wasn't public, that not everyone knew about. All right. So we talking about the descendants of these Atlanteans, and you could trace them back to the families or the empires that rose up after this great flood, or after this pole shift that took place on Earth. I'm saying we're going to talk about this pole shift and this great flood. We're going to talk about exactly what it is as well. Now, that brings us to the black nobility, who is really the Moors. The black nobility. You know what I'm saying? If you punch that in today, you know what I'm saying, you're gonna get all kinds of pictures. Let me see if I can find them right quick. Let's talk about the black nobility. The Trilateral Commission and this triangle. Okay, so this is the Great Seal of the Trilateral Commission. You see the serpents. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of symbology here with this Merkaba. You know what I'm saying? It's called the Triquetra. You know what I'm saying? Because all of these individuals, this right here is the International Brigade of Spain. But all of these guys, man, it's all the same symbol. You know what I'm saying? Ethiopian metals. This is Ethiopia, the same Triquetra. This is the female royal bloodline of Ethiopia with the Triquetra. You know what I'm saying? The Triquetra in Ireland. I mean, the Druids, the Triquetra, and the Mercedes, the Ben sign, and the P sign is Triquetra. You know what I'm saying? Triquetra, the three-pointed star. Saying that's Wiccan. The Triquetra. You know what I'm saying? Because for your magic to be effective, man, even if you're patrilineal, man, you still gotta have that feminine principle has to be present for you to create, man. For your shit to work, man, for your shit to create, that shit gotta be present. So they got this, you know what I'm saying? They got the feminine aspect with even though they're a patrilineal society, they still got the feminine. You know what I'm saying? This she there. Can't do nothing with it without it. I mean, Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. You see patrilineal. You don't see woman here. You don't see, even though this is a vagina, they won't say woman. Like the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. The Father that says that's mad gay. You know what I'm saying? It's weird. It's some weirdo shit. All right. Let's go. Let's go. Okay, the Bilderberg Group. Oh, I'm saying this book right here. This book right here explains a lot to it. It just shows all of the different symbols. Like you'll be able to recognize, or like if you see photos and stuff, you'll be able to see like the different symbols and what that mean. Whoever they shouting out, and I'm saying by doing certain symbols, the way they stand or the way they hold their hands and shit. But it always comes back to the serpent, brotherhood of the serpent. Like we talking about, okay, let me see. We talking about individuals, right? That no matter what walk of life we're talking about, whether it's Gaddafi, Clinton, Bush, Washington, the other Bush, whoever the fuck it is, man, actors, movie stars, scientists, like, my nigga, it's all the brotherhood of the serpent. You know what I'm saying? It's all the brotherhood. I'm saying no matter where you go, man. You know what I'm saying? No matter where you go, it's there. You know what I'm saying? Over in Mexico, Quetzalcoatl, the serpent. You know what I'm saying? The winged serpent, who I could see that they trying to get that energy. They bringing that energy into Tekashi 6ix9ine, man. You know what I'm saying? Because the way they do it in Hollywood is they like to, first of all, if they can't catch a natural myth, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what it is. We're down here, we're living out myths. So if they could catch a natural myth and like manipulate it, you know what I'm saying? They could get some effective results magically from that. If they can't catch a natural myth, they will manufacture a myth. So when we're looking at these artists in Hollywood and the music scene, we're watching myths being played out, whether it's manufactured or whether it's natural. I'm gonna give you an example. Jimi Hendrix, Prince, Dionysus. You know what I'm saying? When you follow the mythology of Dionysus, you will see it play out perfectly with Prince and Jimi Hendrix, then Prince. You know what I'm saying? And now you see it with, I see it with Lil Uzi Vert. Tekashi 6ix9ine, I see them trying to play with Quetzalcoatl, the winged serpent, the rainbow serpent. You know what I'm saying as well? I just be playing with this shit. You know what I'm saying? 50 Cent, they try to give him Marduk because Marduk has 50 names. Inanna is Madonna. At a lot of these festivals that she's at, she's always coming out dressed up, performing as Inanna or E-Star. That's what they do, man. You know what I'm saying? It's a very subtle world. So now we're gonna move on into Angkor Wat, and you see the pine-shaped cone horns on the temples. Okay, so Angkor Wat. Angkor Wat is in Cambodia. Now, Angkor Wat is a series of temples that are spread out along. They're spread out in Cambodia, but they are perfectly lined up to the Draco star system. The same shape that the Draco star system has, these temples are spread out in the exact same shape across Cambodia. All right. And some of them, when you stand at they have stairs. Okay. So you have the column, the backbone, right? And it goes up the center. And some of them, they have steps. If you stand at the bottom of the steps and at a certain time of the day, the sun is shining. It's real mathematical and real precise, like where the sunlight is hitting it and everything. But it looks like a illuminated pineal gland and a spinal column. Yeah. So all right. So this would be the spinal column, and this is the the pineal glands, because you see how they're shaped like pine cones, and they worship the serpent. I'm saying they believe that the world, the universe is How do I put it? Okay, so the universe are the waters in their mythology, and the waters are churned. The waves are created by the moving back and forth of a great serpent. Okay, and the great serpent is moved back and forth by evil demons and good angels going in two opposite directions, and that friction creates waves that make up the waters of noon, or the waters of creation, the waters of the universe. And you see the three horns. Wait, hold on, let's go back right here. Yeah, look at the ladies. Wait, hold on, what they got? All right, look at their nose, look at those lips, and you see the three horns. I'm saying, once again, I'm saying these are sisters. I'm saying, dancing, they got their three horns. These are sisters. These are black people, man. The black people. All right. So, where was I? Okay. So, as I mentioned, not all of us are carbon based. Some of us are silicon based. For these individuals to, now this creation, this is just my theory. This creation, the last creation that was created by the serpents, okay, to do a job, to fight, okay, to oppose. This last race was created to oppose the sons of the serpent. They were created by the serpent, or the Atlanteans, with a specific purpose to oppose the sons of the serpent, or the Atlanteans' first creation. This last creation was made inorganic, just like the Atlanteans. Silicone based. Now, this last creation, its sole purpose not only is to oppose the sons of the serpent, but to become, their purpose is to become a cosmic entity. Any of these alien or space movies you see when they have an android, even in Star Trek Next Generation, all the android wants to do is become real. It wants to be attached to the cosmic mother. That's their greatest purpose. So this is where Silicon Valley comes in, because they're doing it through Silicon Valley. You know what I'm saying? In the book Genetic Manipulation, they talk about this. You know what I'm saying? We talk about the macrobes, because if there's microbes, then you know that there's macrobes. And John Dee, right here, the inventor of Enochian magic, through channeling, contacting the macrobes, because remember, man, as above, so below. So if microbes exist, then macrobes will exist. If something that you can't see, because it's so small, you need a magnifying glass or a microscope to see it, then there are things that are the opposite of that are so immense that we still can't see them. We still can't see them with our naked eye, but they're there. Other awarenesses, because not all awareness has a body. We talked about that earlier with the Nagas. You know what I'm saying? That's why people wear talismans. That's why you want to you want to cleanse your house. You want to do a floor wash in your house. You want to make sure that you cleanse your sacred space. I'm saying, when you're a magician, you definitely want to make sure you do that. It's absolutely necessary. You know what I'm saying? So John Dee contacted the macrobes because the British bloodline, which is really German, who are really German, you know what I'm saying? You see, they married into black nobility, but we're getting ahead of ourselves here. Okay, so he contacted the macrobes and they gave him the technology on how to escape the pit. Now, escaping the pit means accessing the cosmos, being able to leave Earth, which is not getting in a rocket ship and leaving here. No, it's when you die, you don't have to reincarnate. You're not trapped here. You could go on to other realities and unknown or uncreated worlds, unknown worlds. But these silicone beings cannot. They're stuck here. But you can. We can. Because we are comprised of carbon, which makes us organic. All right. Or we're all comprised of melanin. Melanin is carbon. So this would be an example of a macrobe. These are, if you've ever seen Hellraiser, they are also examples of macrobes. All right. So now we're getting into the bloodlines. Okay. The bloodlines of the Illuminati or the Atlanteans or the royal bloodlines. Now, here we have these names here. However, these names were created later. We're going to be looking at the original bloodlines. And one of them is here, the Merovingian bloodline. The Merovingian bloodline is when the Khazars, them German motherfuckers, the Windsors, no, the Guelphs, their names were. They changed them their names to the Windsors when they took over England, and that's the British royal family. They are originally the Guelphs from Germany, a group of Khazars or Mongols, I'm saying, from the mountains. They married into the Magdalenian bloodline or the tribe of Judah and came up with the Merovingian bloodline. Talking about Voltron. In Voltron, they have these lions. Okay? Now, the lion is symbolic of gold, which is the sun in the earth, or the inner sun, the sun in the ground. The tribe of Judah, their emblem is the lion. When you look at Jews or Judaism, you see the word Judah. You also see the word Judas. See, on the spiritual realm, everything has a higher purpose. You know what I'm saying? You see Judah, Judas. You remember what Judas did to Jesus? Sold him out. But if Judas didn't do that to Jesus, Jesus would never have been the hero. See, it was an agreement. Judas is actually one of the greatest. The Gnostics perceive Judas to be one of the greatest heroes because he did the job that nobody else wanted to do. I just told you who I am. I'm God. He did the job that nobody wanted to do. And his name went down in infamy. He's the ultimate bad guy, the first Scarface. Say hello to the bad guy. The very first one. But it's a dirty job, but somebody had to do it. Okay, so let's see. Judas, tribe of Judah, the house of Selassie, who married into the Khazars and created the Merovingian bloodline, who became the House of Windsor. But this had to play out. It had to happen. We had to experience. We've been kings for billions and billions. We did it all. We ain't never been fucked up, though. You know what I'm saying? So, got to experience that too. Beautiful thing is, once we experience it all, we out of here. But where does that leave the silicone boys? And that's what this whole thing is about here. See, here we have the dragon dynasties. You see down here, you have the source. You got the source. It's black down here. You got the dark energy down here, deep. See, in that cartoon Voltron, this dark energy down here, this is what drove Zarkon and his wife mad. The dark energy. As we come up here, now everything travels in a spiral or a waveform. If you look at it from the side, it looks like a wave. But if you look at it from the top, it looks like a spiral. That's how everything in this universe works. That's how it moves. That's how it works. The only animal that moves in this pattern naturally, you know what I'm saying, in the motions of the universe is the snake. Everything else walking around here, herky-jerky, walking around here on 2 legs or on 4 legs, looking crazy as hell. This motherfucker gliding, my nigga, like a wave up a tree. Have you ever seen a black mamba, how fast this motherfucker? Man, they run faster than you, man. And this shit could fly up a damn tree. Like, I can't even climb a tree that fast. This shit ain't got no legs. And this motherfucker run 80 miles an hour and shoot up a tree 100 miles an hour with no legs, nigga. Come on, man. Come on, man. Nature ain't gonna lie to you. So check it out. We got dark energy down here. Then we got dark matter coming into creation right here. You know what I'm saying? You got the Anunnaki, the Ubaid, the Agdar, the Enad, the Enad, the Nephilim. No matter what culture, no matter where you at, my nigga, no matter where you at. You could be the Khazars, Merovingians, vampires, fairy elves, dragon courts, royal pigs. My nigga, you always coming back to the serpent. You know what I'm saying? Coming back to the light. You coming back to the dark energy and the dark matter. You know what I'm saying? To make up this physical creation. And that is the Holy Trinity. Dark energy, dark matter, physical creation. You know what I'm saying? You can find that, you can read up on that in Panic Book. You know what I'm saying? Spiritual, mental, and physical plane. You always gonna have that 3, that Holy Trinity. You know what I'm saying? If whatever it is, if you can't apply it universally to those 3 different paradigms, those 3 different views, man, more than likely, shit is invalid. Emphatically. All right. And as you can see here, the same diagram is applied in the genetic makeup. I'm saying with the bloodlines, but like physically, anatomically. I'm saying this shit is applied on so many levels, man. No matter how you apply it, it's going to make sense. That's what makes it right and exact. But then again, every truth is but a half truth. You know what I'm saying? That's the funny part about being down here. I'm saying the Dragon Legacy. Now we're going to get into the black nobility. Now we're going to talk about who and what played a huge hand in setting this plan in motion. But like I said, it had to happen. Okay, so the first colonizers, now you're going to hear about the Merovingians. You see how prominent the Merovingians were. You know what I'm saying? Very powerful, very prominent, you know what I'm saying, banking, probably the biggest landlords on the planet. You know what I'm saying? The Merovingians are heavy in the religions, the Catholicism, Christianity, Judaism as well. Because the different religions, they're all, it's one origin anyway. You know what I'm saying? The Brotherhood of the Serpent. It's just one big game. It looks like they're all against each other, but they're not. We're going to touch on that some more later. The Phoenicians. Okay. Set up colonies all around the Mediterranean Sea. The Phoenician city of Carthage in North Africa. Now we know that Hannibal, the Moors, were from Carthage. Okay? So the Phoenicians who took over the merchant class and founded the city of Venice and controlled Venice, the Phoenicians who we owe the phonetics of English to, the grimoire, these words that create a reality for us, phonetics. You know what I'm saying? This English language, we owe the Phoenicians. Venice, as I said, the merchant class, the merchant sailors, sailors that eventually trained the pirates. You know what I'm saying? The pirates who happen to be the mercenaries of the Merovingians and the British Crown. The men of fire. Okay, we could thank the Phoenicians. They had a large hand in setting this up. The Medici, you know, we heard Kanye West say who's going to be the next Medici when he was asking Zuckerberg for, I don't even remember how much he asked him for. He said, who's going to be the next Medici? Bro, you already work for the Medicis. You got a record contract, right? The Medicis who run the medicine, who run the media. Ancient banking class, banking family. Okay, so the merchant class rose to power in many city-states throughout Italy. Because this class did not have royal bloodlines, they used wit to succeed in business enterprises and win the people over. So the Medicis took over the merchant class. I'm saying in the 1200s, the banking industry came under the control of a powerful family, the Medici. So they took over the banking industry in Europe in the 1200s. Where do you see who the Medicis is? Where do you see who they are? This is going to fuck a lot of niggas' heads up. The Medicis made money by giving loans, much like a modern bank. The Medici family controlled Florence under a dictatorship and created a non-royal dynasty. So I think Machiavelli was worked for the Medicis. He was like an artist who was the Medicis were his patrons, and they were warring with the Florentines. And the Florentines locked up Machiavelli, and that's where he wrote that book, The Prince, teaching you how to move like a boss out here. I read that book a few times, you know what I'm saying? But I'm above I'm above petty plots. I'm saying mundane machinations. I'm above that shit. Oh, shit. The Black Prince of Florence. So this is the Medici. This is the black nobility. Now we see why they call them black nobility. They really were black. When you look at Europe today, at all the royal houses of Europe today, they all call themselves the black nobility because dun, 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 they are the descendants of black people. You see the sons of the serpent, the brotherhood of the serpent, they gave these individuals the technology, the knowledge to be able to build empires, to use this knowledge against masses like you and I. We're black people. They gave these individuals this information, this technology, but they ain't give it to us. They gave these royal families this information, and these royal families did their job, man. They doing their job like they were supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? It's up to you to rise up. Ain't nobody gonna save you. You know what I'm saying? The ball's in your court. You see the Medicis were the godfathers of the Renaissance. The Medicis, the Phoenicians, the Merovingians. No, pardon me, not the Merovingians. The Phoenicians, the Medici, and you know, God, Michael Sarion and Santos Bonacci they did extensive research into these bloodlines, into these families. Also, Stuart Swerdlow. That's why I found out about the Merovingians and the Khazars and the Magdalenians marrying to become the Merovingians. But these people would never tell you. They'll never tell you that these black nobilities were really black. I would recommend to get this book, Blacked Out Through Whitewash. They have all of this information, there for you. You know what I'm saying? It got so much in there, man. There was this line, right? Nigga Rick Ross said, I pray this legacy is what is left of me. Corporate cannabis giving me leprosy. Okay, in this book right here, Blacked Out Through Whitewash, they explain how drugs have been weaponized, genetically manipulated to attack melanin, to attack dark matter, because this is your weapon. This is your weapon. But they've learned how to weaponize your weapon. Okay? And, you know, Rick Ross touched on it when he said corporate cannabis giving me leprosy, because the weed and the coke and the lean has been genetically manipulated to attach itself to the melanin that you're comprised of, the carbon that you're comprised of, and actually turn the carbon into some sort of cancer causing agent. But here's the thing. If you believe that, then so it will be. Okay, because they thought that they had it figured out with crack. That's what crack meant. Crack the code. They thought they cracked the code. You know what I'm saying? To destroy your DNA. But no, you see that one generation of people were crackheads. They had crack babies. All right. But it's like the next generation either didn't do crack or crack didn't have the same effect as it did. You know what I'm saying? Even the crackheads that you know that they kept on smoking throughout all those years, right now they're functional. I know a lady has been smoking crack for over, man, goddamn, it had to be about 30 years, man. Functional, man. Pays her bills, got a job. Man, this lady play crack parties, man. Play spades, man. Play spades. Don't even work. All she do is do scratch-off tickets all day long, my nigga, and make enough money off of scratch-off tickets to support her habit, pay her rent. Man, listen, man, next level type of shit. I'm saying you need melanin to do that type of shit. You can't do that type of shit if you ain't got melanin. Okay, so this is who they say the black nobility is today. This is who they tell you the black nobility is. But we just saw who the black nobility is. And check this out, though. You see everybody grouped together. They all in this triangle, though. No matter what side. No matter what side you represent, and you in that. I mean, you in that triangle, man. It all comes back to the serpent. Okay, so it's more on examples of the black nobility here. That's right. You know what I'm saying? See, that's what I'm saying. Good and evil, that shit don't exist, man. One can't exist without the other. Because your own people didn't do this to you just because. They ain't do it just because. It had to happen. We done it all. They call me dumb. Oh. This dude, by the way, is King James. King James that wrote the Bible. That's him right here. Looking like Gregory Hines. Man, they got a lot of bad shit. Hey, a lot of these white occultists, they got a lot of fucked up shit to say about King James here. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. Who am I to judge, though? That's right. That's right. Okay. So, if you trace the empires that sprung up and who created them, you would see who was in possession of this knowledge of the serpent. Who's to say that maybe these black nobilities weren't all murdered off in Europe? You know, when you hear about St. Patrick getting rid of all of the serpents, running all the snakes out of Ireland, when you see the running of the bulls, you know what I'm saying? When in Spain, where they got the bulls, people running from the black bulls in the street, but then the biggest, blackest bull is cornered and killed, and that symbolizes the running of the Moors out of Spain. Who's to say that all of this technology, this Atlantean technology, this thinking, the ability to create an empire out of nothing, who to say that this information wasn't taken and then they were all murdered off? You know what I'm saying? And then you had certain royal bloodlines like Ethiopia sitting in the cut quiet. Like Wakanda. Quiet. You know what I'm saying? As long as they good, that's all they care about. They ain't trying to make no waves. You know what I'm saying? What was Disney trying to say with that? You know? Either way, man, you can't look at color. Get that shit out your head. You know what I'm saying? Because we just seen this black nobility and the individuals that either they help, either way they help put these individuals in these positions, whether it was for a divine purpose or whether they just got roughed off. You know what I'm saying? But these individuals look like you and me. All right. So they say that this deluge or this great flood was caused by either a war of the gods, which caused a pole shift, or some sort of cataclysmic event that caused this pole shift. They say that this great war created the deserts in Kemet. Now, in Muwada Ashby's book, they talk about No, not Muwada Ashby, Zachariah Sitchin. The Great War of the Gods. And they had nuclear weapons. And even when you go to some of these places in the desert, they got documentaries that say there's radiation in these areas. That, you know, is proof that there was nuclear activity over there, but that's neither here nor there. Metaphysically, this great war, this great pole shift, because see, as above, so below. This great pole shift was a fall in consciousness. Just like we see in the Kabbalistic tree of life. See, Dr. Phil Valentine shows that there was a time when our brains were pure consciousness. Find it. Let me find it real quick. Yeah. It's called a reptilian brain. Oh, well. Can't find it right now, y'all. But it's called a reptilian brain. And it was when your brain was all that gray matter that you see now. It wasn't there. Shit. Wish I had that picture so I could show you what the reptilian brain is. Pretty much, it's just the brain stem. So all that gray matter wasn't there. It was just consciousness, just electricity. You know what I'm saying? But now, your pineal been covered up with all this gray matter. So, before the fall of your consciousness, all you had was a reptilian brain. Taking us back to the serpent and the sons of and the brotherhood of the serpent. So, the Atlanteans are referred to as Nephilim or the Watchers. Also, the archons which reside in the dark part of your awareness. So remember, they say that there are archons that reside in the dark part of your awareness. But it's in the darkness that you find light. Now, the soul, which is the subconscious mind, is also referred to as the silent observer. Another metaphysical aspect of Atlantis. Okay? So, physically speaking, Lemuria is a matriarchal system, and Atlantis is a patriarchal system. Whether a matrilineal or patrilineal society, for it to be successful, like anything, if anything is to be successful down here on this planet, it needs to apply both the feminine and masculine principle. That's why you're always going to see feminine symbolism, like stars and lunar symbols and fish and, you know, all type of feminine symbols included even in the most patrilineal societies. You know what I'm saying? All in Christianity, you're going to have the Vesica Pisces, and you got the obelisk in the middle of these, like in the middle of these churches, in the front of the churches. In Rome, you got the obelisk coming out of the Vesica Pisces, or, you know what I'm saying, the dome on the church looking like a breast, and the archway of the church looking like a vagina with a clitoris. You know what I'm saying? Because for your magic to be effective, man, or for anything that you create down here, for you to create, it has to have a male principle and a feminine principle present. You know what I'm saying? Now, when you ask yourself, what societies on this planet are the most patriarchal? You're going to see that Islam and Arabic societies are usually the most patriarchal on the planet. In these regions, we usually have the most unrest, violence, and wars. That's because these areas were once Atlantean centers. And these archons or principal energies are still present there and feeding. Like the World Trade Center, you know what I'm saying, over there in the Palestine, you have all this unrest and all these wars and shit happening because there's principal energies there feeding. There are awarenesses that are there that are feeding off of this. They need that shit to happen. These macrobes are there. They're feeding. These archons are there. They're feeding. You know what I'm saying? They need to feed. You know what I'm saying? They give these bloodlines or the individuals who, you know, John D and them, he was working for the he was actually the very first, he is who James Bond was based on, the character of James Bond. He was the first British spy or intelligence agent. And he created Enochian magic through channeling. You know what I'm saying? He would channel from the macrobes, get this information, but it was too much information for him, so he needed to get help from other occultists, and it was too much information. So what they did was they created universities where all over Europe, these channelers would get together and get this information, and they would record this information, but they were too dumb back then. The macros let them know, like, yo, this first you're gonna have to, this is how the mythology goes. The macros told John D that you guys are so stupid that you have to work backwards. You can't create an atom. You have to learn first how to destroy an atom, and then you'll be able to learn how to create an atom. So their first great breakthrough was the atomic bomb. But these people are so dumb. You remember in Wakanda, they was like, yo, these motherfuckers made a bomb, like, or their primitive weapons, like guns and explosions and shit. Like, yo, so you're so petty, my nigga. Like, all you did with it was make a bomb. That's how dumb you are. You can't even create. You can only destroy. So they created the A bomb, but that was great leaps in their technology. Now they're moving on to the next phase with Silicon Valley and the D-Wave computers and all these things, you know, to gain a cosmic identity, to be able to leave the pit, which is Earth, which is hell, which is Malkuth. So in exchange for this information, the macrobes, they want what they feed on. That's why in wars, most of the wars for the past I don't know, let's say most of the wars that have been fought for the past, say 100 years, they've been concentrated in a certain part of the world. Europe, the Middle East, what's called the Middle East now. But what was once like Phoenicia, what used to be Phoenicia, and you know, that whole area where these Atlantean centers were, where these Moorish centers were. God damn, where the fuck was I? Okay, so, oh yeah, so these wars take place in these certain parts of the world. But every time that you send your sacrifices, aka soldiers over there, they have to have certain symbols on their uniforms. The generals wear certain symbols. You notice how no matter what army, whether you're the Nazi army, the US army, the British army, the Italian army, the fucking Arab, Iranian army, they all have oak leaf insignias on their uniform. What are these epaulets? What do these symbols mean? What do these things mean? I'm saying you're sending these sacrifices into this field and they're blowing each other apart. You know what I'm saying? With chemical weapons or whatever. There's destruction, there's misery with the citizens that lives over there. You know what I'm saying? But these soldiers, they go over there and they have to have these symbols on their clothes because the macrobes need their sacrifices. I'm saying they gave these individuals what they need. So now they need for these royal bloodlines to keep their end of the bargain. And that's, I mean, vampire magic. One of the aspects of it anyway. One of the aspects. So now, there is no such thing as a royal bloodline. Who the hell gives someone else dominion over me? Nothing. Because I always got a choice. See, niggas is getting at my man Kanye, right? My man Kanye, knock it the fuck off. Anyway, niggas talking about, you know, everybody's in the uproar. Yo, there's a choice, there's a choice. My nigga, it's a choice. It's a choice. I always got a choice. Always. Always. It's just a lot of the times we ain't willing to make the harder choice. We just gonna take the easier choice. You know what I'm saying? When the cops say freeze, you got a choice. You got a choice. Word. So there's no such thing as a royal bloodline, man. But if you believe it, then it will be. And enough people on this planet believe it for that shit to be valid. What makes them royal, man? Come on, man. Their blood makes them better than you. Pretty much, these people are just ancient psychologists, geneticists, alchemists that are aware and they can apply this ancient technology. You know what I'm saying? They can manipulate you with this ancient technology of psychology, alchemy, gene splicing. I mean, through the food, through what you like to smoke, through what you like to drink. You know what I'm saying? They understand this. This is what the Gnostics were talking about. This is what ancient scriptures were talking about. When you read the Bible, all you're reading is astro-theological concept. You're reading about celestial movements. You're reading about formations and formations of stars. You're reading about the precession of the sun. You know what I'm saying? You're reading about astrotheology. As above, so below. If you could read the heavens, you'll be able to read yourself. If you can read yourself, you'll be able to read the heavens. There's nothing in the macro or microcosm that you won't be able to understand. But what happened is this information was taken, mixed up and screwed up, chopped and screwed, and made most of us to be in fear of this. Boogity boogity boo. You know what I'm saying? Hocus pocus. Spooky. All right, so the only thing that these royal bloodlines have over the masses is this information, which makes them cunning. Now, remember, we said cunning is the word for that witches and sorcerers use. It's a slang term. It's because you're cunning. You not only manipulate the dense physical realm, but you're in tune with the subtle worlds. You can begin in the subtle worlds. I can begin in the subtle world, in the subtle plane, and make that physical. I make my thoughts physical. That makes me cunning. That makes me able to control what is perceived to be reality, my man. You know what I'm saying? I manipulate frequency waves. And that's what makes me cunning. But you could do the same thing too. Now, as I mentioned, you can trace the descendants of the Atlanteans back to the Great Flood. The survivors who were able to amass wealth and kingdoms were those who were able to keep their ancient technology, or what was left of it, or who found it, or those who found it. Because back then, in the ancient world, all of this information was common. It wasn't hidden. But after this great catastrophe, this great war, or this great flood, or this great fall in consciousness, this information was not public anymore. And those who still had it used it against everyone else. See, the society that we live in is a left-brain patrilineal society, no matter where you are in this world. And if anything is matrilineal or left-brain, it's crushed. It's crushed. It's getting seeked out and destroyed. They say that this age, this new eon that we entered, is supposed to change. Supposed to change that. There's a lot of prophecy. There's a lot of speculation. There's a lot going on. One thing we can say is this, that the age of knowing is here, not the age of belief, because there are so many things that are in the forefront now, like everything that so many people held sacred, like the office of the president of the United States after Trump. And by the way, Trump is the fool card in the tarot deck. We gonna talk about that another time. Ever since Trump took office, a lot of people realized, like, oh, you know, what I thought was sacred is nothing but a big joke. The system and everything, the way it's been running for the past 26,000 years, there's a new way that things are going to be perceived. That there's new downloads of light, like Dr. Phil Light has to say. There's new energy. There's new rays of consciousness. There's new awarenesses that are being activated in people, even people like me. When I even sat here and even did this for even this long, like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Legit. So we're going to see where this goes. It's pretty interesting to see, you know what I'm saying? I hope I ain't here to see what the next 26,000 years look like. You know what I'm saying more than likely this would be my last go round, man. It's more than likely gonna be my last time down here. And that's probably why I'm in front of this computer giving it up. You know what I'm saying? All right, so when we trace these royal bloodlines, quote unquote, we're going to see that they all lead back to what is today termed as the Brotherhood of the Serpent. A good example of this is when Brother Bobby Hemmett, he mentions that the Draconians are actually Equatorial Africans or Cushites, which would be the royal house of Haile Selassie. Bobby Hemmett showed us that Set Typhonian. Okay, so this is Cush right here. Cush is the big sister to Egypt. They say that Egypt, if Egypt had gold, all their gold was coming from Cush. They said in Cush, there was so much gold that they put their prisoners in gold shackles. If they captured you in war, they put you in gold shackles. Egypt used to trade grain and other commodities for gold from Cush. In Egypt, this information was kept only for the priest, the high priest, literacy and, certain information. It was only for like the high priest or the highborn, you know what I'm saying? But, it was selective. In Cush, even the most humble servant could read or write and also, had entry to the libraries. Even the most humble servant. Which made me ask, I'm like, okay, well, if everybody knew the same things in Cush, what would make me be a servant? Well, what would make me be a servant if we all had the same capacity to gain, we all had the same information available to me? I would be a servant to you to learn. I wouldn't be a servant to you because I'm poor and I need to feed my family. No, I'd be a servant to you because I'm learning from you. I am an apprentice. Certain things more important than money or gold. The gold to the Cushites, and even in Egypt, it was like, we put this on our prisoners. Like this it's everywhere. There is no limitation. There is no scarcity. Everything is abundance. Our thinking was abundant. We never went without. I'm saying worrying about paying rent, worrying about going to work, worrying about being late for work and all this. That's slavery. That's scarcity. That comes from a mind state of someone who subconsciously never had. Someone from a desert or a cold climate where things don't grow. Not the Fertile Crescent. Okay, so Bobby Hemmett showed us that Set Typhonian vampire magic out of Kemet is draconian, like Dracula. As I said earlier, Kemet is the baby sister to Cush. Now, this vampire magic also resonates with the description of light beings that feed on negative emotion. Brother Bobby let us know that the true Draconians were the Ethiopians. I'm saying the true Draconians. When you look at the Ethiopians, the story of Cush, you would see that Cush, first it was Cush, then they moved on to Kemet. They created Kemet. And then from Kemet, they moved onward east to Indus Kush and kept going east further into Asia. And then from Asia, pushed further even east all the way to the other side of the planet or plane or whatever it is that you want to, however it is that you view it, all the way over here to this side. You know what I'm saying? Where you have the, you know, the natives, indigenous people, the Olmecs and the Toltecs and everything on this side in this Western hemisphere. I'm saying when you look at the ceremonial headdress of the indigenous Americans, you see that they're very similar to the shamanic people in Africa or in Asia, in Indus Kush and in Kush. So there's something more to this. Now I hope that I was a little bit helpful in demystifying the concepts of, hold on, right. I hope I was helpful in demystifying the concepts of Atlantis and Lemuria. You know what I'm saying? Clearing that up for people. Word. Brother Bridge, Abode of Sun Moon, peace. And click on the link below and check us out on IG too, by the way. Peace.